also say that the anti-nativeness needs to be called out equally the same amongst everybody, not just the group of pretendians, which is why anti-blackness needs to be called out amongst everybody within brown people across the board.
I'm a
right?
wobble
None of that shit should ever be let go.
Did you hear me?
Yeah.
They labeled me a
you're a
wobble
what?
sympathizer. They labeled me a wobble sympathizer.
I swear I wish that word would just fucking go
That's
away.
what I'm called.
It's so
That's what they
stupid.
called me. I was like, how the fuck did I get?
And
Okay.
it's just dumb.
And it's from those racist buttholes. Good Indian in them.
Because like, it's here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. The people engaged in this shit, whether native or whether black, the people engaged in this shit that keep it going are doing it because they won't deal with their own bullshit. They won't decolonize their shit. However they were conditioned, whatever experiences or personal experiences they've had, they're projecting it out on the entire native and black community from both sides. And all of us that are not condoning this shit are getting the backlash from the black community and the native community. It's happening on both sides. I will never turn around and play Oppression Olympics with nobody. Ever. I will also not turn around and try to and claim that one side is worse than the other. The reality of it is we've all been colonized. I don't care how tribal you are. I don't care how traditional you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what ethnic group you claim. We've all been colonized. We've all been assimilated to some degree. Some more than others. Some more than others. Some less than others. But we've all been colonized to some degree. There's a lot of shit we got to unlearn. Shit that was normalized because we had to survive. And that's okay for that period of time. But now that we know better, we need to unnormalize that shit. Does that make sense?
Yup.
We know better now.
Smokey. Hey, just calling them out. Smokey, good Indian. Fuck you guys.
I'm not trying to debate toxic TikTok trends. I'm not. I'm trying to have the conversation. Because I'm really trying to understand where this fool continues to misconstrue the shit I've said. In a one-on-one conversation where you can't outrun logic is different. But honestly, I feel like this is part of the cause of the continued division between our communities.
For those who didn't know, BGP and I were supposed to have a live discussion to clear up her claims that I've been misconstruing her words and supposedly trying to drive a wedge between black and native communities. But at the last minute, she backed out. And honestly, that says a lot. Let's be real, if I had actually twisted her words, she'd have no problem articulating exactly how. But she can't. Because I haven't. This was nothing more than a failed attempt to push a false narrative, one that didn't land because I've consistently spoken the truth. That truth is what bothers her most. Now, since she's throwing around accusations of causing division, I have a few questions of my own. Why are your followers showing up in black creators' comments claiming that black people have privilege?
She was talking about Notorious BG, whatever the fuck, right? Okay. You said this. Take a look. Like I said, wish we had the privilege y'all have. Just you few creators, that is. What fucking privilege do we have?
If your group truly stands for unity, why are there constant passive-aggressive jabs at the very community you say you align with?
Culture. No, any indigenous history.
Well, hello there. See, I was gonna leave you be, but then you went and made this video. So I decided to come down the steps in a home I own, sitting on the land that I...
And if you're all about defending indigenous people, why haven't you ousted the white individuals within your own ranks? Let's talk about that last point. So many of the so-called natives, and yes, I'm using air quotes here, you associate with seem far more interested in targeting black people than confronting the very white systems and individuals you claim have oppressed you. There is no real allyship with people who are part of the greater system of oppression. And this is exactly why so many of you who claim to be native on TikTok don't see white people as a threat, because you've already bought into the system of white supremacy and white superiority. Whiteness was never meant to coexist with anything non-white. It was created to be in direct opposition to us. That's why the idea of a true white ally is a myth. And I know some of you are going to get mad at me for saying that. Why? Because you're married to a white person, or half white yourself. You've got white kids, or you're actively chasing white proximity. And that's part of the problem. This is why we don't see strong, lasting allyship between black and brown communities, because we keep allowing white infiltrators into our spaces, and those infiltrators do what they always do, cause division.
And then not only that, but the narcissists in both communities that love the attention continue to push the bullshit. They cause problems over in the black community, and then they come cause problems over in the native community on both sides. They both do it. Both fucking sides do it. Both have the problematic people that do it on purpose, and they live for that shit. We have to be mindful of not fucking platforming them. We do. Like, if they're up in a panel and we know that they're problematic, don't even go up there and engage. Like, seriously, every time they get a little bit of attention, it keeps this division going. And it may not seem a lot, but it causes so much damage. You only need a little bit to infiltrate. You only need to sow a little bit of doubt, sow a little bit of paranoia to infiltrate. You don't need a whole lot to do it. You see what I'm saying? So we got to be mindful of that shit on both sides. It's not just one side over the other. And that's what I want to get across to Mr. Toxic TikTok Trends. That this isn't just a one-sided problem. This is a two-sided problem that all of us need to address, confront, and decolonize and deconstruct.
All while he focuses on only one side and makes it the only problem and causes further division.
Take Lala, for instance. A white woman pretending to be a person of color, all while fueling conflict between black and brown communities. Lala, I saw you asking Mateo if he had a back channel so y'all could talk privately, presumably about how much you agree with the anti-black nonsense he spreads on TikTok. People like you are dangerous. You smile in our faces, pretend to be down, act like friends, and then turn around and vote to acquit the same police officers who brutalize and kill black and brown people. That's how white supremacy sustains itself. Not just through overt violence, but through infiltration wrapped in friendship, wrapped in finding your roots. I'm not taking any of you seriously until you start calling out and removing people like this from your spaces.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not doing this to get into an argument. I practice what I preach. It's not about an argument. It's a conversation. It's a conversation about logic. It's a conversation about where I'm supposedly being misinformative. Okay, let's talk about it. I'll bring sources. But at the end of the day, when I see people who are perpetuating disinformation and white supremacy and a COINTELPRO wet dream, and I've told them this. This isn't a surprise. I've literally told them this. You are a COINTELPRO wet dream.
This is exactly why BGP never actually intended to sit down and have a real conversation with me, because she's performative. Everything she does is just that, performative. She knew she wouldn't be able to explain how I've supposedly misconstrued her words or address why she continues to spread so much misinformation. Why? Because she knows exactly what she's doing. She projects, deflects, and gaslights. That's her pattern.
The conversation needs to be had. It's not a debate. It's not an argument. It's a one-on-one. People can watch it. That's cool. It's fine. It's whatever. But I'm not doing this out of attention. I'm not doing that. I'm doing this to cut this shit done and over with. Because I do not like when people who want to act anonymous on the internet and cover their voice up with AI, cover their face up with AI, and hide behind an anonymous mask, and then make accusations and just do it through video and misconstrue shit. We all know when you have a one-to-one conversation in person, live with that person, whether it's on a platform or in private, the rhetoric changes.
And speaking of white infiltrators, remember when I called out Micah B? Yet another white person claiming to be Native American, even enrolled, who spent her time in anti-black spaces stirring up division. And guess what I saw her say recently? That black people should have gone back to Africa after emancipation. See what I mean? This is why I trust my instincts, because where there's smoke, there's fire. I knew she was a racist from day one. This is how division is engineered. While Trump and his followers are out here openly targeting black and brown communities, people like Micah are doing the quiet work, picking off whoever remains. Until eventually, all that's left is a whitewashed version of America. And that, unfortunately, was always the plan.
I need it to be an emotional damage. That's all I gotta say.
I'm just saying. But
I'm just saying that too.
it's really not about me trying to like cause drama. It's like, all right, let's have this conversation. I told him I don't want to debate. Let's have the conversation. You come to me with it you feel like I have been misinformative about, and we'll discuss it. Surprise me.
You're gonna end up debating. I'm telling you.
It's not going to be a debate in the way people think. Or at least I'm not going to allow it to be on my end. They're probably watching right now, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
So, of course they are.
You wussies.
But see, none of this shit will end up on YouTube. It'll be all the shit that they've misconstrued that end up on YouTube. I don't care, but honestly, I don't want misinformation going out there, and I don't like when people tell me I'm being misinformative because it doesn't fit their agenda. Cool, whatever. You don't agree with my ideology? Cool. You want to continue to perpetuate what you perpetuate? Cool. But don't continue calling me a liar. I don't tokenize my black friends. I don't tokenize my black equals. I don't tokenize my black child. But I see a lot of people doing that with indigeneity when they want to have a debate with me. I don't bring that up. You don't bring that up. Let's talk the facts. If you want to have the conversation, we'll have the conversation. Let's see where we're miscommunicating. Let's see where we're misunderstanding. Because honestly, I'm tired of the bullshit. If you really want to have a conversation and clear it up, let's clear it up. But I don't want to sit here and argue with people and continue the fucking, like, if you're going to continue posting shit on YouTube, you're only doing the white man's job anyway. And if you're going to sit here and fight against white supremacy and talk about how much you hate white supremacy, but yet you uphold it, you give them, bullets to shoot at us for.
But I feel like they're just telling you back what you just said, though. When I see some of those videos, I'm like, isn't that what she just said?
That's my point, but I get told I'm gaslighting.
No, I feel like that. I'm like, I'm not fucking go over it again. I was like, that's exactly what she said. I don't know.
Bro, I'm telling you. But I won't tokenize people, unlike other people in native TikTok or unlike other people in pretendian TikTok or syndicate TikTok. Because I don't want to generalize the syndicate with the rest of the Pan Africans. But yeah, like even the rest of Black TikTok, they not on this shit. They just not. If you listen to, like, if a pretending comes up to somebody's panel on Black TikTok, on a regular Black TikTok political panel,
right?
Am I not lying? Black penis and Lala, like,
yeah,
they don't tolerate the shit. They kick them.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't hear about China? China too. They booed them out of their platform because they're trying to claim that. They got booed out.
Like, this idea that we got like all these black people hating us is the Black pretendians. The rest of the Black community, like, they be on their platforms. They'll show up on their platforms and they start sounding what the black community on TikTok says hotepish, does they start, they're like not buy, and they kick them off the platform. They don't let them continue on. They don't tolerate the shit. They don't give them platforms. It's the people that are giving them platforms. They're doing this out of using money. They're profiting off of African and indigenous erasure. They're profiting off of both erasures.
But if you think about it, the ones that are actually pushing this shit, they gotta remember the shit they're pushing. Some of them really believe it with their whole heart that they are,
Yeah.
and end up doing stupid shit. Like they already got one body on their hands. I'm giving them that one because they literally caused that shit. Someone that believed it so much, he had to take it too far.
I'll just say this. I'm just gonna.
So some of them people ended up in jail.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this. Be careful of the stories you hear on this app. If you Google the stories and you can't find the stories, especially stories that should be Googleable, if they're not Googleable, then somebody somewhere is lying. Because I will say this. A lot of people try to claim that it was Pretendians that shot Skyrocket.
Yeah, he claimed it wasn't.
No, he did say it wasn't, but other people like Jahia and other people push that rhetoric. There is fucking videos on the internet. This man's Facebook, the black man who got shot, and Nagkit who got shot, the black man that they both shot each other. The black man who got shot, I went through his Facebook. Not a fucking Pretendian thing about him. Matter of fact, he's got a license to operate a food truck on the reservation in Wyoming. And they have videos and posts and pictures and things of them doing fundraisers and stuff for the tribe as black people. And somehow some anti-black natives turned that into it was Pretendians. Even though Nagkit said no, it wasn't. But they still turned it into it was Pretendians to push their agenda. So there's agendas being pushed on both sides.
Now, let's talk about this broader dynamic between black Pretendians and the so-called TikTok natives. The issue isn't just one-sided, but y'all love to pretend it is. There's this constant effort to pin all the blame on black Pretendians, while completely ignoring the role many of you have played in escalating the conflict. And before anyone jumps into my comments whining, let me be clear, I've never said the actions of black Pretendians are right. Not once. But accountability goes both ways. What's really happening here is a refusal to acknowledge your own behavior. Instead of holding yourselves accountable, you reach for a psychological whiteout, trying to erase your part in all this. And that right there? That's what shows just how unserious many of you actually are.